oh, PE time, whoop.
Yeah.
The girl's like, like, how did you meet an opposite sex gender? How
in
to me it was
catechism.
Yes, in church on Sunday.
I thought catechism is just an excuse to meet boys.
I found out all the people who used to bully me
Okay.
are now all dating another man.
No
Oh,
way,
wow.
really?
The one time I went back to my school for a school talk, right, my radio partner literally looked at my dismounter and went, Mr. Goh, is it weird to see Avery up here? And you know what he said? It's weird to see him up there not being punished.
Welcome to another episode of Men Explain, where we just air our true, unfiltered thoughts.
Exactly, our unapologetic takes on these things that we're talking about. Today, we're very happy to have two people joining us, Fauzi and Leah.
Hello.
Now, today we're going to be talking about something that I feel shaped all our childhoods here in Singapore, right? It's always this discussion of whether or not gender schools or co-ed schools are
Yes,
better and whether or not they
yes.
actually shaped you as a child growing up.
I think it definitely does. But let's dive straight into it. Okay, so first up,
Okay.
Aves, were you from a single-sex school?
So primary school, I was from Catholic High Primary. So that's a boys' school.
Yes.
And then secondary school, I went to Guangyang Sec, which is a co-ed school.
Yeah. Okay, how about you guys? Yeah, Leah?
I went to CHIJ for like all my childhood. Yeah.
Wait, which CHIJ?
I went to OLGC for primary school and SJC for secondary school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which IJ were you?
No, I wasn't IJ, but I was St. Anthony's Convent.
Oh, okay,
So like
okay.
both for like
Girls'
10
school,
years
girls'
of
school.
my life.
Yeah.
But any convent girls' school girl will be able to identify another convent girls' school girl. Like, it's just a vibe.
it's just a vibe.
It
It's
is.
just a
You
How
vibe.
do
can't
you?
explain it.
Okay, 10 years in boys' school. So in primary school, I was in St. Stephen's Primary School. And then after that, I went to SGI, St. Joseph's Institution.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're very atas, ah, yeah.
Wait,
Okay. So you see, this is where the discussion kind of unfolds, right? Because a lot of people will always say that, oh, if you came from like a single sex school, you were more on the prestigious side, you were smarter. I don't know whether or not this is something that you guys heard growing up, because I definitely heard it, right?
Yeah.
This whole NSK, have you ever heard this term?
Neighborhood school kid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys came from like a girls' school, boys' school. Do y'all kind of look down on the NSKs? And be honest now, yeah?
I don't consider my school to be like some elite school or prestigious school.
Same.
Actually, we are considered almost, okay, I wouldn't say neighborhood school. We were like semi-autonomous, right? But we're not independent school. So I mean, I think now if you want to really break down into that, that's a different thing altogether. But what was also cool is that they embrace people from like everywhere. So they even opened up normal tech, normal acad, and it doesn't matter whether you're like Catholic, doesn't matter what background you're from, they open it up to everyone. So in that sense, I don't feel like it discriminates anybody or like we look down on other schools, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Fauzi?
guys
There's a
can chime
hierarchy in the individual single sex schools like realm, isn't it?
yes,
Right. So that you have the super elite kind, but then my school was on like the lower end of the tier, which I think is
If you're
similar to
talking
yours.
about like academics,
Yeah.
is it?
Academics or just in general, they don't have like the very prestigious like, oh, everyone is in express. Like there's still like the normal tech, normal things like that.
Now,
Yours,
can
why
you say the same for SJI?
Let's go.
Okay,
down.
Okay, let me explain. Okay, when I was in St. Stephen's, right, it was kind of like a neighborhood school situation. All right, majority of the kids from St. Stephen's, right, will end up in St. Pat's.
Yeah, because we're on the same area.
Yeah, that and then
Okay.
also like academically it wasn't good. So to me, right, when I went into SGI, I felt like that was my way of transcending the
Transcending.
the expectation
Already using
lah.
atas language.
Relax, everybody.
Transcending
No, not just say go to the next level.
Transcending. Yeah.
Y'all need to chill out. But basically, the idea here is I wanted to do better in school and I wanted to do well enough to be in a better school and give myself a better chance at excelling in life lah. But the reality is, right, when I went to SGI, I was at the bottom rank of the school. Like everybody else was like excelling, you know, at A's and everything. And I was always in the bottom few classes, always failing maths, always failing classes. So I felt like, in a way, yes, I went into a better school, but at the same time, I was struggling just to keep up with the pressure of existing around people who are infinitely smarter than me.
Okay, wait. So you guys went from primary to secondary, basically single sex school all the way. But Aves, you had that change where you actually went into like a co-ed school after. Was it a huge culture shock? Did you feel?
No, it was. It was a massive culture shock. I mean, the first thing I struggled with was my siblings because I've got 4 siblings. All 4 of them, 2 of my sisters, both were CHIJ girls. So CHIJ Toa Payoh Primary, CHIJ Toa Payoh Secondary. Both my brothers were from Catholic High Primary and then St. Gabriel's Secondary. So it was girls' school, boys' school, boys' school. And then there was me. I'm the youngest, which was boys' school, co-ed school, right? And the first thing that everybody said to me was, "Oh, you're the stupid one." Yeah. So it's always, "Oh, you're the stupid one," or "Oh, you're the failure," or "Oh, you're the this, you're the that." I mean, the first thing that came to mind was, "Oh shit, am I really stupid one?" But then I guess that's the first mental like blockade that I had to struggle with, right? But then when you're finally in school, then that culture shock happens because suddenly there are girls around you, and then when
But you happy
behave,
lah?
But he's still single, so
That's
Please come back to my show
is
more
up
often.
with this slander? No, okay. It's not even about that, right? Because when you come from a boys' school, and I think Fauzi can attest to this, right? You are very much a guy's guy. Like the things that you do, you change in class, you're boisterous, you're playing around, all
Actually,
these
same
things.
like girls' school, like
Right?
that.
Yeah,
Same.
you're open.
Yeah.
So then when I went to secondary school and I was like, oh, PE time, whoop,
Yeah.
the girls like, ah! And I'm like, back then I'm very skinny. I got no muscle. I got no muscle. Then I was like, what's wrong? Right? Like what? And then like I remembered also in school sitting next to a girl, right? Then I like drink everything, like, burp very loud. Then they, oh my god! And then I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? And then it made me realize that there's this massive culture shock because these girls have also grown up in a co-ed school or they've grown up in a girls' school and they've come to neighborhood school and they don't know how to kind of react.
Actually, I don't think that co-ed school, because you know sometimes the impression that like, oh, co-ed school means neighborhood school. But actually there are a lot of co-ed schools that are very prestigious. Like they
100%.
do super well. Like we've, Aves, you and I visit schools a lot, and some of them, even though they're like combined, it doesn't mean that they are considered, any worse, right? Yeah, sorry, continue.
No, but I think my school doesn't fall into that category.
Okay. Saying it's what you make out of it yourself too, right?
I mean, the one time I went back to my school for a school talk, right? My
my God,
discipline
you
master
went back?
I went back.
Oh,
and my
gosh.
DM was there and we were with Jermaine. And my radio partner literally looked at my discipline master and went, Mr. Goh, is it weird to see Avery up here? And you know what he said? It's weird to see him up there not being punished. And I was like, my goodness.
I think they're using you as an example of somebody who got out of the trenches of the discipline office.
But I think at the end of the day, that culture shock truly kind of, it took me a while to adjust because when you come from a boys' school, things are truly very different. You behave very differently. You think differently. You speak to the teachers. You speak to your friends differently.
And it's not just that too. I think people's perception of you based on like the school that you say you're from.
Yeah.
Do you think that varies? Like growing up, do you think that when people ask you like, oh, which school are you from? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm from SGI. People are generally box you in as like, oh, must be a good person, must be a smart.
I don't know if people
Must be-
even
do
ask
people have that
anymore.
impression?
Huh? Do people still ask you like what school
Yeah.
you're from? Really?
people always ask me, and then they,
Oh.
This day.
yeah.
I don't feel like people ask me anymore. So I feel like past a certain age, it doesn't really matter anymore. But when you're younger, I think that a lot of times when you say something, then they're like, oh, they make assumptions about you. Or I mean, usually the common one I get is like, oh my god, me too, I'm also an IJ girl kind of vibe. So it's like camaraderie rather
It
than
is.
like,
I'm like, oh, that explains why we can get along.
yes,
right?
pretty much, yeah.
Interesting. No, but I think people still like have a certain expectation of what it means to be an SGI boy, for example. They expect me to be a certain way. They expect me to be prim and proper.
I don't really though.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yes,
I don't
crazy.
think so.
Another key example of a SGI boy, Nicholas Yim.
Yeah.
Nicholas Yim from You Got Watch.
Different
He has an SGI boy vibe.
He is
is
the epitome of an SJI boy.
Is
Nicholas
he
Yim.
from SGI?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
He's
okay,
the
okay.
epitome of SJI
Which
boy.
is why I feel like I'm always a bit of an outlier. Because I felt like when I was in SGI, I always felt very different from the rest of the boys. Like you said, boys' school, they always had that boys' boy vibe. I was the least closest to that boys' boy stereotype lah. And I felt like I struggled through my time in school just because I was also trying to find my identity and figure out what I liked, what I wanted to be. And it was tough lah. It was tough. Like I was bullied throughout my entire time in boys' school. Yeah, but actually then when I left boys' school, when I went to JC, right, co-ed, right, I found like, suddenly I got friends who are girls who are a little bit more willing to chat with me,
and
be friendly and understand me. So I felt like I found my space a little bit. But I think in a way also I was a bit older, right? I think when Aves went into from primary school, secondary school, still young, still hormonal, but me a bit older already, a little bit more grounded. So I think it was an easier transition.
It's funny that you said hormonal because like I remember that was the age
Because
that
then you still like this in your school.
yeah, I mean that's the age where men or boys at that stage go through puberty, right? And we're talking about this whole concept of do people like judge you based off your school? And I remember this so clearly. I was trying to date an SAC girl.
Oh, is it? Not me, by the way.
And we actually went out for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the problem was that there's always this stereotype that SAC girls will date St. Pat's boys.
Oh.
Right?
I mean,
or
yeah.
KC girls would
Yes.
date St. Pat's boys. Like
Yes.
there was always this thing. So when I met this SAC girl, right, the question always came to like, oh, are you from St. Pat's? Or are you from St. Gabe's? Are you from Montfort? And I'm like, no, I'm from Guangyang. And then they're like,
What's
where's
Guangyang?
that?
You can be like, I'm from Cat High.
And
2
that's
years
like,
ago.
yeah, but that became like a badge of, you know, where you're from, what your status is.
Oh.
And, yeah.
Okay, I think because at that age, like we're like 14 or 13,
You have nothing
15,
else to your name,
whatever.
lah.
No, there's
No,
nothing to talk
exactly. Your
about.
identity is so tight with like your CCA,
Yes,
your
yes.
school.
Yeah.
Are you in science class or humans class?
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god, how many pure subjects are you
yeah,
taking?
yeah. I'm like, oh, I take 8 subjects. Wow, must be very smart.
You're do pure.
Oh, you know?
I don't have pure subject money.
Is it? You're not very pure also, lah.
Okay, move on. Obviously now I'm the only one that was in a co-ed school. So I want to see whether or not there are some things that kind of are similar to co-ed schools versus single-sex schools, right? So things like discipline style, school traditions, and things like that, right? So you guys can kick it off. What are some like things that are unique to like single-sex schools when it comes to girls' schools?
Okay, the thing is because I think especially for both of us, we didn't have the experience of going to like a co-ed school in secondary. But I will say that I was a relief teacher for a little while.
Ooh.
I know it's hard to believe. Everyone's like, huh, you're a teacher? What? So I was in girls' school 10 years of my life, right? Then I did relief teaching initially at my school. Then I got transferred to a co-ed school.
Okay.
And that was where I noticed the difference in discipline methods.
Yeah.
Of course, in a co-ed school, especially the one that I was at, I think some of the boys can be quite notorious and quite difficult to manage. The male teachers are like really, they got a firm hand with discipline, you know. They're really like, do this now or like come out now, and they're scared of some of the teachers that are very I wouldn't use the word aggressive. They were
Fierce.
very
Strict.
stern. Yeah, they're very strict and very stern. Whereas for girls, I think it's a bit more of a gentler approach.
Yeah, I've never really had a teacher be like super strict
Same.
until like it became a point of like police case involved kind of
Oh.
vibe. Then there will be like situations like my school also a bit notorious for all these things happening. Yeah, got like police come out of school and outside of school before for like people who vandalize things in our school. So I was like, but only when it's reached that point then it's very bad. But they don't ever do like public like shaming. You know, like sometimes in boys'
or
schools
like
they will
public
like
punishment in front of the school.
Yeah, I don't. boys'
This
school
is
never
just
do that.
reminiscing. Yeah,
I feel
No
like
lah, don't have
a lot of people tell me
A lot
like
of
they
times.
will be on stage and then they will like gonna like I don't know what from the
You
teachers
get
and
Caning,
stuff.
get
ah.
scolded like right in front of the whole school.
You mean
Yeah.
that doesn't happen
Not-
in
it doesn't
single-sex
happen in
schools?
girls. I mean, in
Wait,
girls' schools,
It's
no.
never happened in my school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Girls' schools also never. Yeah.
I have never witnessed that in my
Dude,
school.
every morning.
Yeah, that's what
Every single morning. Avery, Aloysius, please stand up and we come to the front. Okay. It's like every morning.
But
it's,
you know what you did.
Of course. What do you mean? No, okay. Look, it's not just me, right? And I'm surprised that doesn't happen in
in
SGS.
boys' school?
No, because
do like-
different.
They do.
Different.
Because you're
must act a
atas,
bit. Yeah,
is
act a bit. Act a bit.
Because
Different.
I remember very clearly that both my brothers from St. Gabriel's, which is obviously not a very elite school, they were also punished a lot and they were called out to the front.
Yeah.
They were also punished in front of the class. They were caned in front of the class. And I have friends who were caned in front of the class as well. And to me, that is like it's like a norm when it comes to schools. Because if now you guys are saying that, oh, they've never been called out before, I'm like, what is this kind of love that you all receive? Like,
I mean,
what?
at the most, if they would just want to make an example out of someone, they'll just make those people like stand on
Yeah.
the stage
Or like stand up
something.
in their class.
Yeah, then you know that those people went to detention or
Yeah.
they
Oh.
stand outside the class,
It's
for example.
like super lame things like your skirt too short vibes. Like
Yeah,
it's not even like
which is us like every day.
yeah, it's not even a
Okay.
big deal, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow, I have a very different life.
Yeah.
I feel like there is no public like shaming involved in school, and I will remember very clearly because I was the prefect reading the announcements every morning.
No way. No wonder
Saying the
why you're the
pledge.
prefect.
You're so prefect vibes.
I am like, I admit, but actually, I agree there is quite a difference in the sense when it comes to boys, right? Especially at that age, right? Everybody's a little bit more boisterous, a little bit more rowdy. And I think one of my most memorable stories, and this is something I will never forget in my entire life, is that one of my classmates, he's a bit of a problem child, a bit of a troublemaker. My teacher got so frustrated with him, right? He took his table and threw it out into the courtyard.
Wow.
Wow, I shocked. Yeah, that was like my first time seeing some sort of like
Projection.
Yeah. It was so scary to me, and I was like, whoa, like in this day and age cannot lah.
No, I think
Later the
actually things-
parents will come
things
and
have
complain.
changed. Things have changed a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, one table only.
They never throw you out?
I don't think we
the
have
books
time- I don't think we
back.
have time for this story, but like there was one year that at the end of the year, my friends basically threw every single table out the fourth story.
Oh, that's crazy.
As a prank?
Oh no, because they were bored.
Oh my,
Oh my
what the
god.
heck?
Okay.
Well,
anyway,
Anyway,
I think that's a story for another day.
It
But
is, it
you know,
is.
when it comes to friendships, though, I feel like this is actually a key point in the way that we've grown up. You know, maybe in the schools that we were from and all that. Do you feel like being in a single gender school or co-ed school have helped you shape your friendships right now? Like, and even till now, like your approach towards friendships, I feel like there might be a difference.
Let me ask this then before we continue. Because all three of y'all were from single-sex schools, right? Are y'all still close friends with your secondary school friends?
Some of them,
Yes,
yes.
some of them,
Some.
yes.
Yeah?
Some.
Yeah.
No, eh.
No?
No.
Yeah.
But it's
I think
not...
it depends on the personal experience.
Yeah.
It's not really about the school.
Because you
Yeah.
mentioned that like you didn't have the best time.
Yeah.
And then you only found your like tribe in JC, right?
Yeah, but it's also like, I don't really think about it as a school-related thing,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
For me, I think as a person, I'm quite... of the moment person. And I do appreciate that sometimes, you know, for that time being where I was in school, I had a group of friends that I was very close with, and we drift apart as we grow older.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
because
Different phase of
perspective
life,
change, different
yeah.
phase of life. But I would say there are people that I feel I still keep in touch with, or when I see them, I'm still very like, you know, we can like
You can catch up like no time
kiki.
was
Yeah,
lost.
absolutely that.
Yeah.
And while I was bullied, I did find a close-knit group of friends in secondary school who were like my ride or dies basically. And these people, right, we're all the creative sorts.
Oh.
We somehow managed to click, and all of us are working in either like fashion or like in media in some realm. So in a way, right, we kind of found each other, and we are kind of in the same pathway towards life. So these are the people that I still see once in a while, and I say like, and we work together sometimes. And I really consider them friends who have kind of shaped my life at that point of time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the friendship is really based on like you as a person. Because like I mean like example, I went to JC, right? Like co-ed school and thing. Like people would ostracize me in JC, but in secondary school I was fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it really depends on like the people you surround yourself with. But I also do think like I think it's just a whole girls' school girl situation. You recognize each other from far. It's like we know that you're from girls' school, and then sometimes you can either hit it off really well, or it can be like the complete
Totally
opposite.
opposite, yeah.
It can be like your biggest hater in your entire life. Like so, it can totally be polar ends. But I don't think it really correlates like too much to whether you're from like a single gender school or not. Yeah.
I think based on my experience, especially in secondary school, you start to find your group and your personality. You start to discover yourself a bit more, right? So in secondary school, I found a group of girls that we became super close. We did everything together. You know, we celebrated like Halloween together. Everything we did together. You know, we'll dress up together, like go out together. So many things were done with this circle of girls. Even though now in this point in time of our lives, we're all kind of all over the world. We're not really in touch as per before. I find myself gravitating towards girl groups still.
Yeah.
Even now, like as an adult, and in my adult years, I have also found another girl group, which you've met, Avery, obviously. And it just kind of translates, like the same energy, and I look for that sisterhood, you know? Yeah. So I don't know, this is just my view of it.
On that note of girl groups, right? I think for me, the transition phase of guy friends to meeting girls for the first time, it was really interesting making my first girlfriends, right? Because
Did it all start platonic? Or
no, it's funny because when you first get to a co-ed school, right? As a guy, the thought process is, oh my gosh, I'm gonna finally get a girlfriend.
Oh my god.
Okay.
You're like,
I'm sure.
Yeah. And because I guess to my friends, they all came from co-ed schools. Like my two best friends came from co-ed schools as well. So they kind of already...
They used to it.
Right? For me, it was like, oh my god, girls! But to a lot of these girls, they also came from co-ed schools.
Yeah.
So to them, it was very normal to create friendships like that. Whereas to me, it was relatively new. So it was difficult for me because then I was like, oh wait, are you interested in me? Am I interested in you? Like, do we talk as friends? Like, what is the situation? And I guess at that age, you're really just kind of discovering what it is to like speak to the opposite sex. Right? I don't know what it was like for you guys. Like, how did you meet an opposite sex gender? How did it come about and whatnot?
Yeah.
But
In
to me, it was
catechism.
Yes, in church on Sunday.
In church, girl. I thought catechism is just an excuse to meet boys.
Oh my god! Wait, the similar relationship. That's so funny.
No, it's not.
Oh my God. Every Sunday.
Yeah,
Why?
every Sunday I'm like, oh, I'm excited for Sunday.
To see God.
God.
no, so you imagine that feeling, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it was like every day.
Okay.
Right? Because it was like,
Elevated.
and it was like, oh, it's not just the girls from my class.
Yeah.
It's also the girls from other classes, you know, it's the girls from my CCA, it's the girls from all these. And then slowly as you progress, you realize that, it's just like creating friendships with other guys.
So do you feel that even now in your stage of life, especially for you, since you've had that co-ed experience, do you have more female friends? Because I noticed that you do have, myself included, but you do have quite a few female friends that you're close to.
Yeah.
Versus maybe, I don't know, like a guy from a boys' school.
A typical boys' school.
Do you think they would have like more bros than girlfriends?
I feel like actually yes.
I think
Like,
so
I think
too.
so. Like you can tell. Like I mean, like those very typical boys' school boys.
Okay,
They always like in their group bro picture together in Bali or something like that.
So for even for Jeremy, my partner, right? Like he was from Marstella's boys' school.
Yeah.
And then he went to AC, right? So he's always had that group of guy friends, and they still keep in touch. They're still really close till
like-
now.
like this.
And he doesn't really have that many super close girl friends, female friends. Yeah.
I
What do
don't
you
know,
guys think?
I don't think so. Well, I'll give you the reason why I don't think so. Because my close girlfriends never came from my co-ed school.
It doesn't, but it
helps you,
shapes
like-
you. It shapes you making friends in the future.
You think
That's
so?
what I'm.
Because
I think so.
I feel like you know how to behave around girls from like a younger age.
I don't know about
I don't
that.
think so.
Okay, maybe not you, but like other
I don't think so.
guys.
To this day, I still don't know how to talk
I
to
retract
girls.
that
Yeah.
sentence.
No, but I feel like there might be a correlation, you know. Like if you're tuning in right now,
It
please
could be.
comment. Like, do you feel
I really don't know, because to me, my closest friends are from my co-ed school, but they're two guys who are also pretty damn useless talking to girls. Right? The three of us are all idiots. And all my close female friends actually came from the industry. Yeah.
But at the same time, because you're so comfortable with making female friends back in school.
I wasn't.
But you learned how to.
You kind of
Yeah,
know.
do
Yeah,
you?
A little bit
kinda
more.
learn. And you mentioned earlier that like, you realize that you
Yeah,
can be friends
Yeah.
with, people of the opposite
Yeah, I
sex.
guess it did kind of teach me a little bit more about the opposite gender, because you go through like trial and error, right? I still remember my first ever like crush in school. It was actually my first girlfriend. She was like my first crush.
Yeah.
Right. And then I realized, oh, she's got a partner. And then I moved on to my next crush kind of thing. And I was like, oh, it's like, okay, when you first get this crush, it kind of like lasts for a bit. And then after that, it's like, oh, I stayed my kind of thing, right? Because it's
I
like,
stayed my, okay.
Do kids even say that nowadays?
I don't know. I came from my neighborhood school,
I
man.
doubt
mean,
it.
that-
I doubt it.
I did not understand that term at all until they said it to me. Yeah, want to go steady? I'm like, what's that mean?
I know
Yeah.
I'm from girls' school. also
This
know,
is
you
very
know.
good because based off this, right, relationships is another thing. It's not just about friendships.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your experience in your respective schools changed the way or shaped the way that you view relationships?
Wow.
Because
No lah, my school all girls' school, then all just lesbian. Literally every senior dating some junior in my
Oh,
school.
that's crazy.
Like, it's just a stereotype of the IJ
Very
school, but
wild.
like it's just normal and like nobody is phased by it, honestly. Yeah, in specifically those schools.
What about boys' schools?
They're all closeted lah.
Yeah, it's all closet one.
At a 10-year reunion, then you'll find out who came out.
Oh my gosh, I haven't had a reunion ever.
Oh, me too, me too.
Ever. Like they just
also.
never hosted one.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
went to my 10-year reunion.
What did you wear?
I was like,
Why is that the point?
Yeah.
So cute, why?
It's a boys' school.
Yeah.
still?
Okay, so what happened at the reunion?
Oh my god, I found out all the people who used to bully me
Okay.
are now all dating another man.
No way,
wow.
really?
Y'all need to calm down.
Really?
Yeah, real. There was some of them who were like closet cases who after 10 years came out and now like
The tea.
Yeah.
I
Oh
love
my
it.
god.
I tell you, all the ones who bully you in secondary school, right? The boys' school, boys who
projecting
bully you.
lah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're projecting.
Yeah, real.
Correct.
So dating in your schools won't. I mean, for you it was common, but it was like
It was like
No. Okay, I mean, it doesn't
wait.
need to be dating within a school.
but-
Like relationships in general. I think us girls sometimes we give different type of advice
Yes.
versus like, you know, maybe if you're in a co-ed school, what kind of dynamic was that?
I mean, in the co-ed schools it was very interesting because when you're dating within the school, everybody kind of knows.
yeah.
Right? Because I mean, it's so small and then you want to sit together during recess, you want to
Yeah.
sit together during
It's
class.
obvious.
Quite cute.
Oh my god, it was so adorable. Like
So
my first real girlfriend was like love of my life, right? And we were
Wow,
together for like 4 years, like crazy over her. We fell in love in school. Like really high school sweethearts kind of thing. And everybody knew we were together. So the teachers would know we were together, like all the classmates would know we were together.
just
So
invested.
yeah, no, really. So it'll always be like, oh, Avery has detention now. Okay lah, she will wait for you outside. Or Avery's gonna get punished outside the general office. Okay lah, you can go and find him there, kind of thing.
so
Yeah. So it was like everybody knew, but that also became a situation where, because everybody knew, when we fought, everyone knew. Because then
So
during-
interesting.
Real life
yeah.
drama.
Yeah, I would live for this.
No, it's crazy because then when you go to recess, right?
Yeah.
Normally it's like y'all will sit together. Then suddenly I sit here, then she sit there.
Oh
The people talking about you in the
Yeah.
canteen.
And then everybody's
that
like,
is a
everyone's like,
big
see, Avery is
difference.
fighting with don't know who again. Avery's fighting with his girlfriend again.
God.
And then it becomes this whole thing. So I think the dynamic was very different in a co-ed school for me.
Interesting. But I feel like in boys' school for sure, right? Drama-wise, it's very minimal. But I'm
Yeah.
curious about girls' school drama.
Got drama, got
Confirm
drama.
have
It's
one.
extensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Always
extensive.
one.
But also, I feel that I don't know. You can chime in on this one. When my friends started dating or like started to meet guys outside of school and all that, right? They're very like low key about it, and they're like, "Hey, I tell you a secret, but you don't tell anyone."
Well, what's the
I'm going
point?
on a date with like Nora. Then they were like, you know, it was more of a very secretive thing, more than like, all right, guys,
Yeah.
I have a boyfriend. Like
Yeah.
nobody really did that. I don't know whether it was the same
Yeah,
for you.
nobody really did that in my school. So because
Yeah.
like I mean it's usually and it's always like the culprits like SJC will be like Saint Gabe's,
Yeah.
Montfort, and then they'll wait outside the school sometimes. Or like at the mall that is near the school. Then you'll see them at the mall together kind of vibe. But I guess my school drama, the tea is just the people dating each other in the school. That's the
Love
tea in my
that.
school.
But
yeah.
for a boys' school, right, was it more of a flex? Like, did your friends flex? Like, oh yeah, now I
I'm
got a
dating some
girlfriend
girl.
from. Because I know that there are people that will be like, oh yeah, I'm dating a SAC girl, or oh no, I'm dating a KC girl, or I know I'm dating a. Nobody ever says I'm dating a Guangyang girl, lah.
I think there are definitely like it's always the jocks who will always have like they will flex that they are
Their
dating
roster.
someone, they like seeing some girl from another school, that kind of thing. But I was very out of that loop lah. I was just living my own life. Yeah, with my friends who were affectionately called the Bitch Club.
Wow.
Yeah,
Love
we
it.
own self call
I
ourselves
mean,
the
it's a
Bitch Club.
compliment to yourself.
Correct.
It was
But
meant to be.
I think regardless of what school you come from, I feel like to survive in school, you just need to find a way to find people
Yeah.
who are going to be your ride or dies.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, these people are the ones who are going to keep you alive in your journey in school.
Oh, I don't know. I suddenly thought of something.
Yeah.
Like not just the inter relationships in the school, but a lot of girls who have crushes on the teachers.
Oh my god,
Oh
Oh
the
my god,
teachers.
yeah.
Oh
me
my
too.
god,
I mean, us
actually.
too.
All the time, right?
God, boys' school also same thing.
With the girl teachers, right?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
thirsty.
Super.
Yeah, we had a really cute like PE teacher.
Always the PE teachers.
Apparently, he is Joanne Pei's brother. I don't know true or not. I'm not sure if it's true. But there was a rumor that was like, oh, he's Joanne Pei's brother. I don't know. Does she even have a brother? I have no idea. I don't know what kind of rumor that was.
Wait.
But
Oh
it
my
was
God.
interesting times. Okay, I have a few scenarios here that we can discuss. I think the first one is going to be extra applicable to girls' school.
Okay.
I went to an all-girls secondary school and it was one of my best schooling experiences ever. It was a really safe space for me to develop and grow as a teenager. I can even talk about sensitive issues like puberty, my period, without feeling awkward or judged maybe by boys, and teachers in my school were awesome. Okay. This reminds me of an incident, and I'm sure it has happened in a co-ed school before. Some girls who are maybe not prepared for their period, and this has happened so many times in my class. During an exam once, one of my close friends in school, she stood up and her entire skirt was like drenched, right? Because she didn't realize that
her
her period came and it was during an exam. Everyone is stressed and you're locked in on your whatever you're doing. So when she stood up, like, you know, I was right behind her and I was like, oh my God, like your period came. And she was like, oh man. But her reaction was more like, oh man, it wasn't that of embarrassment or like, oh my God, like I gotta, like, you know. Whereas in a co-ed school, I don't know how that would have gone down.
I've got a very
relevant story for this.
sad story for this because the problem with co-ed schools is that you have boys, you have girls, and they're always going to be bullies, right? The difference is that when you have bullies in girls' schools, it's just girls bullying girls, whereas in a co-ed school, you have guys bullying girls. So there was once where a girl had her period, right? And we were all in assembly, and she refused to move because she knew her period came.
Oh no, what thing?
And the guys, not me, right? To
disclaimer.
clear that up, right? Because I was a bully, but not to the girls.
He wants them to be on his side.
No, I was going to say correct. No, not correct. No. But it's like, it was very sad because she was sitting down and people knew like she had her period, right? And instead of the girls helping them, they joined in to make fun of the girl.
No way.
Why?
Because it's just this whole like group gang mentality in like neighborhood schools. It was very back then. It was super toxic, right? And I didn't know because like we stood up, we left, and we only heard about this the next day because she didn't want to move. Everybody was making fun of her, and like and then they got in trouble, obviously. But it was like at that moment, it's so sad, right? Because in a girls' school, like you said, there's camaraderie, correct?
We'll be like, oh my God, hold on, like I'll go get a pad or go get a tampon, whatever.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it was just a very like, it was a fucked up situation. It was sad to hear. And I mean, if you could turn back time, obviously things would have been different.
Do you think like experiences like this would have shaped how you treat like women or?
I think being in a co-ed school definitely did that for me because you see very different sides of bullying. You see very different sides of punishments, and there's also this imbalance of like, you know, girls and guys, and it's very prevalent in a co-ed school. So the girls, like you said, they don't get punished in single sex schools.
No, they don't.
They get punished a lot in co-ed schools as well because the girls are just as boisterous as the guys. They're just as notorious, right? Sometimes even worse, where I've literally gone up to the top level of a HDB block and watched 3 girls fight it out and slap each other in the face.
Way.
Yeah. And then the next day, they all get punished in school.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They don't get caned, but they all get punished in front of the whole school. And it's just so normal to me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why it really shapes our
It does.
perceptions.
And so growing up, it made me also realize that, you know, okay, I have to be more respectful towards women this way because like, it's like you can't just, you know, in the middle of everywhere and like you get girls going, kind of shit. So it's like, you know, it really does shape you a little bit more. But not saying that if you come from a single sex school, it's not going to shape you. It's just different.
I think we just learn it at a later age.
Right.
Which is relevant to the next situation. Okay, this one is interesting. Despite the academic benefits, I will not send my kids to a single sex school. The interactions between boys and girls is a very necessary part of developing into an adult. In the real world, you have to interact with the other gender every other day.
I mean, totally valid though.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with this, but I feel like there's also benefits to being in like a single sex school. There's different benefits to each, but if you're gonna learn it at a later stage in life anyway, then I don't think it's gonna affect too much of your perspective. I think there's a a misconception about that also, right? But I think it comes from like the people who go to single sex elitist schools, like those like very like they study very hard. All they do is study, right? Then after JC, they like go to uni.
Unleash,
Then they're like, oh my god, it's a world, like a completely different world.
No, but that's
stay
how
on
I
school.
felt when I went to poly and uni. That's how I felt. Yeah.
But I think JC is still a bit more toned down because like we're still very focused. When I went to JC, right? We're still very focused on studying. But I think like interacting with guys or anything wasn't like too much of a big deal because I had catechism class to practice in church. Yeah, but I think if you're just solely very like focused and studying all the time, then maybe it'll come as like a little bit of a shock. Like at a later age and you'll be a bit crazier maybe.
So you think it's that and not because we're from a single sex school?
I feel like it's about the lifestyle that you lead.
Yeah,
not really about like the specific school.
Yeah,
right.
It is very unique to each individual, I feel. I don't think it's like specifically what your background is.
A combination of things maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely heard of people saying like, this girl's so unhinged because, she 10 years in girls' school, of course lah, then she never meet guys.
I mean,
maybe. I don't know whether
like
to some
date
extent.
around more.
I get what you mean.
I think it's not just individual, and I don't think it's also isolated to single sex or co-ed, but I do think that it is school culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think there are certain schools where there are stereotypes, there is a certain culture that is inbred within that school where, it's more, okay, we're going to study harder in these 10 years. And then when they leave, they're like, oh, this is a brand new world. Versus other schools where they're a lot more open to dating.
They meet people from like the boys' school, neighborhood boys' school.
So like this whole concept of like KC, St. Pat's, SAC, St. Pat's, or St. Gabriel, CHIJ Toa Payoh, where it's kind of known in the school like, oh, we are near each other. That whole like idea of, oh, I'm not going to meet a girl until I hit poly is kind of gone.
Yeah.
Right.
The lines are blurred.
Correct.
But at the same time, you think parents also might want to send their kids to single sex schools because they're like, oh, I don't want you guys to have distraction.
Yes. I mean, really, honestly, could be. I mean, did you think your relationship was a distraction when you were in secondary school?
No, I think she made me focus a lot more.
Wait, I do actually have a very real question. And I have had this conversation with people in my age group, right? Is if you had kids, would you want to send, from our experience, would you want to send them to a single sex school?
I think yes, in my honest opinion, but I won't have kids lah. But like, in my honest opinion,
She decided. Okay.
No,
I already
I also
decided.
don't want to have kids.
I also
don't have kids.
But
I also, if I hypothetically die, some accident happened, I would say I would send them to a single sex school.
Me too.
I would still send them to a single sex school. I feel like,
but not the super like die hard study kind, right?
oh, why cannot?
No, because I think
If they can make it, they can make it.
Okay,
I
like,
guess.
they
If they can make it, they can make it lah. Like, but I felt like during my time, and I don't know if it's because it is a single sex school, but it is because of it. It is a Catholic school. I felt like the mission and the values were what I took the most out of my time in school. And in fact, being a Muslim boy in a Catholic school is already like a bit confusing. But what people don't really think about is that actually in Catholic school, right, they really teach you more than just about
it's the
Catholics.
values. It's not really tight. It's not 100% like about the religion.
Correct,
It's
correct.
a way of life.
Yeah.
or,
And
you
actually,
know.
in my time, right, they actually taught us about every single religion that is in Singapore in my religious and moral education class. So I felt like I had a bigger and better worldview because of my time in that school.
Right.
Yeah.
I think just based off my own experience in St. Anthony's, which was a great one. Why you laugh? Why you laugh? I would also send my kid
Yeah,
to...
interesting.
And like I mentioned, St. Anthony's is not like an ultra elite school, but I do love what they stand for. Yeah, and the people and the girls that I've witnessed growing up and, spending time with, even now I still go back there for like some work and stuff, just to interact with them. They are still really lovely.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I'm biased, I don't know.
Right?
But they're awesome girls that come out from the school. You were talking about whether you send your kids to single sex school and all that. What about you? If you turn back time, would you want to still experience this single sex school experience, or would you want to be in a co-ed school? And Aves, vice versa.
I think it's an easy choice for me because experiencing both, I kind of got the best of both worlds. Primary school in a full boys school for 6 years, and then I got the privilege of doing 6 years in secondary school also because I'm stupid. But
we didn't say.
But I wouldn't change it because it has obviously shaped me in a certain way. I love my two best friends to the ends of this world, and I wouldn't change that either. And I think that all the experiences that I had in a co-ed school really did kind of define my character growing up a little bit more. Being as naughty as I could be, getting punished the way that I got punished, and hearing like, you know, how secondary schools were a bit different for you guys as well. I'm not saying that it would have made me drastically different, but I do think that I had a lot of fun growing up in that environment, knowing that, you know, oh, I could get punished, and I enjoyed getting punished that way because it was funny, right? And then the girls always be like, oh, naughty, naughty, naughty. So it was fun. It was fun. And I met my ex-girlfriend.
Subconsciously your way to like get their attention.
Oh. Well, again, I was together with my ex-girlfriend for 4 years in school.
Okay,
so it wasn't... Okay. She was always very annoyed with me whenever I got in trouble. So actually when we got together, I was a lot more like mellow.
Like a better.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Fauzi, would you change your experience?
I don't think so. I felt like everything that happened to me during my time in school is what the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. I felt like in that journey, I kind of discovered, okay, you know what? I may not necessarily fit in with the typical image of what a boy might be. And in even secondary school, I was forced to be in a uniform group.
Oh, wow.
My dad said, like, you must join uniform group. You must toughen up.
NPCC,
I was in NCC land.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Means what?
Crazy.
National Cadet Corps.
You don't know. The one that always march.
I see, but why land?
Oh,
Because they have
the
land, air,
sea.
sea.
What the heck, the future?
I don't think we have that.
No, we don't have such
Girls
thing.
don't have.
We don't have
Girls
such
only got
thing.
NPCC.
Yeah,
correct,
NPCC
correct.
only. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Girl
basi-
guides.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to like go through that like trial by fire, like in that sense, to discover like actually maybe I am an outlier. I may not be, you know, like a typical guy, and I was okay with it lah. And I think throughout the time I kind of grew more confident in myself, and then only when I kind of went to JC I realized I actually can interact with girls and boys in, you know, my own unique way, and I felt like that's kind of how it led me to what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
I think personally, if you're comfortable with that experience growing up, you naturally just want to gravitate back towards it. So I guess we all have really good experiences. So that's why we are like, oh yeah, I'll definitely do like all girls school all over again. But I mean, if you put me in a co-ed school, I think it'll be okay as well.
Yeah.
It's like
You just adapt.
I guess
you
it's-
adapt to it.
Everybody's experience is
Yeah.
unique to
Yeah.
them.
But guys, thank you. That was such an incredible conversation. I didn't realize that we had so much to talk about when it
Yeah.
comes to like
Yeah.
school choices.
I guess it's something that
What?
every Singaporean kind of has to experience once in their life. And I
Yeah.
think that conversation will always come up. Thank you, Fauzi and Leah, for joining us another episode of Men Explain. We hope that you guys enjoyed yourselves. And if you're not yet following us on social media, please make sure you do so at itsclarity.co on YouTube, Instagram, and on TikTok as well.
Yeah. And if you haven't already started following all our podcast channels, please do so. Apple Podcasts, Me Listen, Spotify, we're all on those platforms. Catch you again at the next one.
Bye.
Okay. How are you going to wrap up?
I think maybe Sonia just wrap up already.
Crazy fucking
Yeah,
eyes.
the
caffeine
caffeine
is
is
just crazy.
Like bulging
Very
out.
dilated and crazy, you know. Are you alright, sister?
I've been trying damn hard to focus, man.
Okay.
Your
Whoa.
pupils, I mean, your...
Oh God. Help.